Right. Good evening. Yeah, I'm Steve Orton. Uh, playing for the Outlaws. Outlaws number uh, 18. Play on the wing, and I'm gay, and my pronouns are he and him. And tonight I'm talking to Andrew Ward, uh, who's been playing for the club for quite a while. And if you could introduce yourself, Andrew.
Thanks, Steve. So, Andrew Ward, like Steve said, been playing since 2015. I'm currently the treasurer for Northampton Outlaws. Sexual orientation is straight, and my pronouns are he, him.
Right. Okay. Right. What comes to mind when you think of LGBT spaces or groups, such as the Boston or Q Space?
I would say lively, filled with variety. I think that's always what's stood out for me. And probably safe space, I think, for a lot of people. That's what kind of stands out to me for a lot of it. There's no people don't go in there with any preconceptions, do they, of what they're going to see? So sort of you take everything as you see it, don't you?
Yeah. So you feel comfortable as a straight guy in amongst a whole stack of gay blokes and women.
Yeah, not a problem with that. It's yeah, you go in somewhere like that, you're very accepting of everyone's orientation, preferences, whatever it be, and it's only you're accepting of us being there as we're accepting of you, etc. It's just a safe space for everyone, isn't it?
Okay. So what's your impressions of a traditional rugby club, and what images come to mind when you think of that, such as the Scouts or say
Yeah,
the Wellingborough?
yeah, rugby's always got that sort of that traditional macho, heavy drinking, manly aspect to it, hasn't it? I think is the traditional view, but I think that's changing with time.
Yeah. So, and then what's your what did you think a gay rugby club would be like? Say, like the Outlaws. When you first approached us.
I didn't see it wasn't necessarily sold as obviously the gay aspect of it was mentioned, but it's more of a beginner friendly, or reintroduction in my case, or even experienced players, just a different. It's probably more of a social environment, or was when I joined, and it's just it's still very there's always going to be that macho-esque element to a rugby club. It's got that sort of it always has that little bit of a persona, doesn't it? But I
Yeah.
didn't exactly think it would be any not much different, and just take the people as you see them playing some rugby, and then what you do afterwards doesn't matter, does it?
It's all down to the drinking at the end, I guess.
Some are better in it than others.
Yeah. So, how has the Outlaws changed your view of rugby clubs and teams?
I think it just highlights how accepting um, clubs can be of people, and those are clubs that aren't. It sets a good example for how accepting you can be of whoever wants to come and play sport, because there shouldn't be any barriers to playing sport. Sports for all, and that's what you want.
Yeah. And how has it also changed your impression of the gay scene? So,
Um,
like the Boston
I think having never
or when
really
we've been out in other towns.
Yeah, I think having never really been exposed to it beyond, just being acquainted with a few gay blokes, I don't think it, I didn't really have an image of what it would be. I mean, everyone has this stereotype, thing, and I didn't really think it would be like that. I mean, we've been some places in Amsterdam and stuff that you do get it, but it's not. I don't think you go in with any sort of expectations of what it might be. I just took it as it came.
Cool. Before the Outlaws, have you had any other rugby experience?
Yeah, I played rugby at school, and then obviously stopped after I left school. Really, that was it.
So you think the Outlaws is a good club for people that have, say, like you and like myself, lost their way and kind of come back to rugby later, perhaps a bit later in life, you know?
Yeah, definitely, because you need that balance of sort of reintroduction, new players, experienced players, and you know, it just helps. You know, whatever reason you go back into rugby, and, you know, and you think in my case, I think potentially I've got reasonable understanding of the game, but it's just that sort of relearning that physical aspect of it that you need to build back into. And, you know, traditionally you would, if you went to a club and you just joined in training and stuff like that, the bar is set quite high or to their first team standard, whereas, you know, the Outlaws is happy to, you know, break it down, take some people away, work on the details, etc., for where they're at, which was good.
Cool. And the next question is, how do you feel before your first training session?
Intrigued. I'll say I was intrigued because obviously good friend Hamish sort of told me about it, said come down to training, you know, do your fitness, whatever, sort of explained it a little bit, and I was like, yeah, okay, I was just intrigued to see what would be different. I didn't think much would be different, and ultimately it wasn't. Still a rugby club, still do all the rugby things, etc. And
that's it.
A good bunch of guys.
So you thought it was a good place to start at the starting rugby?
Yeah, definitely.
You know, for people who are not very experienced.
No, it's got a good balance, you know, across the board. You think of who we have now and what I've experienced over the past 5 years, you know, the spectrum of abilities and, you know, experience is good for all levels, you know, complete beginner to seasoned veterans, you know, who are looking for a slightly step away from that more rigorous sort of, you know, traditional rugby club first team experience. So it covers for all.
So after that training session, how did you feel after that? What was your...
To be fair, probably knackered. I was really unfit at the time, and getting back into it.
Yeah, it's I imagine you ate rather a lot.
Yeah, obviously, you know, having not really done a lot since leaving school and uni and getting back into that was, yeah, sore the next day.
And how did the first game feel?
I can't really remember. I think we all know that famous picture of me and Stoney.
Yeah, he is rather a big chap.
He's a big chap. That's an introduction to rugby in Northampton for you, isn't it?
Yeah, indeed. And based on that, what advice would you give a new member or somebody who's thinking of, who's watching right now and might be thinking of coming along?
Always tackle low, involved. Cheek to cheek.
Cool. And if you could describe the Outlaws in 3 words, what would they be?
Fun, caring, and dedicated.
Cool. That sounds good. Anyway, thanks very much, Andrew, for your time. This has been quite fun and interesting. Hope it's been as fun and interesting for you as it has for me. I can't wait to see who you pass this on to next for the next interview, to see if they can tackle the questions that you did. Okay, thanks very much, and hope to see you again when we start training again.
No, good to see you, Steve.
And hope it doesn't hurt too much.
Hopefully.
Okay, thanks very much.
Thanks, Steve.
Cheers.
Thank you for watching the interview with an outlaw. If you like what you saw, please click like. And if this is the first time you're here, why not hit subscribe for more from our channel? We release 5 every Friday, so let's see who will pass it on next.